All right, for today's Rangers game memory, I'm going to take you back 7 years ago. And if you're watching this on April the 2nd, it will be the 7-year anniversary of the Yu Darvish near-perfect game against the Astros at Minute Maid Park. Now, what do I remember about that game? Well, right off the top of my head, not a whole lot. There's 3 things that I remember about that game without having to research anything. Number one is early on in that game, we knew that Yu Darvish had some excellent stuff that day. And I remember after the bottom of the first inning, and Darvish went 1, 2, 3, quite obviously. During the commercial break, I leaned over to Eric and I said, Darvish has got some outstanding stuff here today. His slider was electric. And I said something, I don't know exactly what I said, but I said something to Eric like, the Astros would be lucky to get 1, maybe 2 cheap hits off of him today. And that's the kind of stuff that Darvish had. And there were times in Darvish's career where you knew early on whether he was going to be on that night or whether he didn't have it that night. And that was one of those nights that we knew that he had it. So that was one thing that I remember. Another thing I remember is the Rangers didn't have to make too many good defensive plays behind him. It seemed like that Darvish was just racking up strikeout after strikeout. I did have to go back and look to see how many strikeouts he had. He had 14 in that particular game. But in terms of tough plays, really only 1. And that occurred in the 5th inning on a line drive that Mitch Moreland at first base had to make a really good catch on. But outside of that, the defense really didn't have to do a lot of work behind him. The third thing that I remember most about that game is this. In the 9th inning, it all happened so fast. In fact, too fast for Eric, who was doing the play-by-play, to be able to set up sort of the dramatic finish that we all thought was going to happen, and Darvish was going to have that perfect game. As we got close, through the 6th inning, through the 7th inning, one of the things that we realized was we better, have all of our ducks in a row as far as the information on perfect games goes. So both Eric and I were doing research on perfect games. The previous year, there had actually been 3 perfect games. Late in the year, Felix Hernandez of the Mariners had tossed one. So we were trying to line all that up. But as a broadcaster, in that bottom of the 9th inning, in this case, you want to be able to set the stage. You want to be able to build the drama. And Eric really didn't have any time to build the drama. So in looking back at my scorebook for what actually happened, Darvish got the first 2 outs in the 9th inning on only 3 pitches. So Eric only had 3 pitches to try to set it up. And here we were. He's on the brink of a perfect game, 27 batters and 27 outs, and he's got to face Marwin Gonzalez. He's got no time because the first pitch to Marwin Gonzalez, he hits it right back up the middle through Darvish's legs and out into center field, and the air all went out of the balloon, and that was it. No more perfect game. Darvish ended up coming out of the game at that point, and the Rangers ended up winning, of course. Astros only got 2 hits in the game, but it was Marwin Gonzalez who broke up that perfect game. One other thing that I didn't remember about that particular game, actually there are a lot of things I didn't remember, but one that I really didn't remember is the fact that Lance Berkman had 3 hits and 2 RBIs in that game for the Rangers. So anyway, April 2nd, 2013, Yu Darvish, the near perfect game against Houston, and that's today's Texas Rangers game memory.